kids are using it, we don't have the baskets we need to fully utilize it. So that's the reason the project got started. We would like to name those courts the Lenny Clarke basketball courts because of all the contributions Lenny has made to the community. I go way back with Len. He and Mom Maddox gave me my first coaching job with the boys, and that eventually led to my taking the girls basketball position, one that I held for 27 years. So I personally owe a lot to those guys. My wife and I also ran the youth center, the Armory, downtown for several years. And one of my memories, vivid memories, is getting in there early on Saturday or early on Sunday before our league started, checking out how much rain had come through the ceiling, getting out the mops and buckets, getting it cleaned up as best we could. And I do remember games where we still had buckets on the floor because the water was still dripping through. You just had to learn to dribble around them or avoid them somehow, that they were part of the court, just like officials were. So obviously we needed to move out of that gymnasium, and we were lucky enough to have this beautiful YMCA. As I said earlier, we quickly outgrew the size, and we've added the new arena, and that's going to give many more kids an opportunity to play basketball than had the chance back in the day when we all played. Dave was a big part of Grove City basketball too. Dave, you have anything you want to add?
The biggest thing that you don't realize until you're later in life is all the values you obtain from a coach. And Coach Clarke, as I said, took me from an individual who wasn't a real good basketball player and showed me what it took to get to another level. And that's the same thing that we're doing in life. It's taking whatever you're doing into another level of being better at what you can do. And I think that's one of the biggest things that Coach Clarke gave me into my life. And I didn't realize that, although until a little bit later, but all those values and skills were implanted. And I had Len from all the way from my 9th grade to my 12th grade year, and he significantly brought me along and held my hand and taught me the skills that I needed to be a point guard. Unfortunately, you know, I had it from a point guard. Lenny in his times was a point guard, so I was getting some great advice from a guy who knew how to play the position. So, you know, owe a lot to Lenny as far as all those values that I've been able to carry on into my life.
Any success that I've had in life, you know, next to my family, this man right here has influenced it in ways large and small. And I sincerely mean that. Not just him, but everybody in this room.
Hi, I'm Scott Easton, and it's really great to be back in Grove City, and I'm here today at the Grove City YMCA. And I want to ask you to think about and just reflect on your childhood for a few moments. This simple act right here of shooting a basketball. All of you remember it. Some of you may remember it better than others, but there's one person that we all remember that played a significant role in teaching us how to do that, and that's Coach Lenny Clarke. We're here today to discuss the fundraising project for the YMCA to add 2 baskets in Lenny's name. And he always stepped up for us when we were younger, and now it's our time to step up for him. We can do that by generously giving to the YMCA. All of you remember, just like I do, having to go out to the park or other areas around town where we didn't have the facilities that we have now. The Y here needs baskets to be put in on the basketball court, as well as other additions made to this wonderful facility that you and your families have come to know and use on a daily basis. So I really encourage you to think about giving to this cause, which we're trying to raise $100,000 in Lenny's name to put the 2 baskets in, and also to make some additions to the areas where those baskets are going to be, and the courts would be named in his honor. And again, he stepped up for us. He had a significant role and influence on my life, as he has in yours. Whether he was your coach, a teacher, your guidance counselor, or just a friend, Lenny was always there for us and with us. Now it's our time to honor him, and I just ask that you think about that and give as you feel so inclined. Thank you.
Don took over the program in about 1992. Don, I think you inherited a pretty good program from great coaches like Mont and Lenny. what do you think about the community and what do you think about Lenny?
Yeah, and I'm meeting those people, and I knew this would be the type of job that I would want to get into. You know, and we sit here talking, every one of these guys. I think the commonality that we have is passion for the game of basketball and for kids, and seeing kids grow through the game because it was a game that we all loved, and you know, to gain. I mean, I know where my coaching and my teaching really came through what I gained from my coaches in high school and college, and it's just something that's passed down. And Lenny did a great job of that. I mean, looking back to the history here, I knew Grove City had a good history of basketball. Briefly, I just want to give my thanks to Lenny and really all the coaches that came before me, the people in this community, and what a great place it is to live. Grove City is. And certainly one of those reasons is the Y here and what it adds to our kids growing up and the values that are instilled and the activities that they can be involved in. And but a lot of this was spurred on. I'm glad to see Lenny being recognized in this situation for the basketball courts. He's done so much for this community as far as developing basketball and relationships and the Y itself. He's been a great supporter of that, and through all that, all the people and the relationships that have transpired through the years, and I'm glad to be a part of that. We've kind of carried that tradition on, and so it's something that's been a great place for my kids, to grow up, and for me to live as well. And a lot of that's attributed to Lenny and people in the past, before me that have come together and really, developed the Y and all the.
The common theme, family, fraternity, we're all one big family as a result of basketball. And it's because of guys like Lenny. Yeah. And you played with a group of guys that still come and visit you.
We're here yesterday.
Right. And my high school basketball coach was on the team with you in Geneva. And you passed on what you knew about basketball. That's what I did too. That's what Slaughter said to me. I was floundering. I didn't know what to do with my life at age 23, 24. And he said, "What do you know best?" He said, "I don't know much beyond basketball." He said, "Then give back."
I'd just like to say that this is a great idea to honor Lenny by naming the courts after him. He was so instrumental in creating basketball here at Grove City. The success that the teams that have followed Lenny are a direct result of his influence and his contributions to getting kids actively involved playing basketball. And I think this is a wonderful effort.
I'm Trip McBride. I was in the class 75, Lenny's last basketball team, but Lenny created a great basketball program, but what I really remember him more about all the little things he did behind the scenes for people, including me. He, behind the scenes, was helping kids who didn't have the money to go to basketball camp and things along that line. He would help kids who were having trouble in the schools. I know one time I had an older kid from the high school picking on me. I was in 7th grade. Lenny found out about it and came to me, dug some information out and said, I'll take care of it for you. And came back to me later. He goes, "I got it all worked out. He owed me, and so he won't bother you anymore." And that kid never did bother me anymore. Lenny had all the connections, knew how to work all the kids, and had so many great relationships and so many sources of information. He was just a jewel to the school system, and a lot of it was just behind the scenes that nobody even knew about.